Welcome students. Today I have another video tutorial and this one is for the Andy Warhol Silkscreen assignment, and I want to take a regular photo and I'm going to duplicate it and put it onto a document, and I'm going to change the colors on each one of them. I'm going to make 4 of these with the same photo, and I'm going to size them and crop them and put them onto a document. And it's much in his style that Andy Warhol did with Marilyn Monroe, Elvis Presley, and the Campbell's soup cans. The emphasis of today's assignment is on color, and we'll be using color hue and saturation and value, or lightness and darkness, that I discussed in class. So I'm going to get started. I brought in a photo of one of our students, Austin, and he is going to be my subject matter today. I'm going to crop this photo. So I'm going to get the crop tool, and I'm going to go up to the top, and I want to do W times H times resolution. Right? So not ratio. If you're set on ratio, change it to W times H times resolution. And I want you to just type in 4IN at the top by 5IN. And I want you to set the resolution to 250. Once you have that, I can move the photo around within that frame. So I'm going to put him up a little bit higher, like that, and then I'm going to click the check mark at the top. And you can see he got very small. I'm going to press Command plus or Control plus if you're doing this on your Chromebook or PC. Make it a little bit bigger so I can see it. All right, so I cropped it, and that was 4 inches by 5 inches with a resolution of 250. So I'm going to add some colors to this. Let me get out of my crop tool. I still have that, as you see. I'm going to go back to my move tool. And I'm going to start by making a new layer. Just like we did with the color tinting assignment, I'm going to add a layer for every color that I use. Okay? The first thing I want to do, though, is I'm going to go up to the top where it says Image on the very top and click on that. And I'm going to go down to Adjustments, and I'm going to go to Threshold. Okay, something new, something we haven't done yet. And I'm just going to click on that, left click on Threshold, and you'll see I get this. I get a new tab that opens up, and my photo is totally in black and white. And I'm going to go to this lever here on the bottom, and I can scroll back and forth. And what I want to do is get it to where it's visible and it's identifiable what I'm looking at, right? If it's like this, then I really can't tell what it is I'm looking at. And if it's like this, I can't either, right? So not every photo will work for this assignment. So you have to have one that will kind of work with you. And what I'm looking for is places to color. And so I can put some color. I'm just coloring on the white in this assignment. So I can color on this background. I can color on his arms, his face, his chain if I wanted to, or maybe this little patch. So I want at least 3 layers for this assignment. So I have 3 options. I can do his face and arms one color. I can do this left side of this background, this door. This is from the daguerreotype assignment. These are the doors in the studio, the backdrop. And I can paint this other side of the door a different color. I'm going to do that. So I am going to choose to put it somewhere like right there, where I can still see him visible, but I have room to paint, right? So I'm gonna hit OK. And I have my threshold. First thing I'm gonna do is add some colors, and I'm gonna add a layer. And I'm gonna name it by double clicking on that layer, and I'm gonna name this blue. And I'm gonna come over to my foreground background in my tools panel. I'm over here. I can set this to default by just going to that small foreground background icon right below it and click on that, and it puts black in the foreground and white in the background. That is the default setting. I want to double click on the black to get my color picker palette up, and I'm going to pick the color that I named blue. So I'll scroll up and down on this till I get a nice blue, and I'm clicking on that, and I'm going to say OK. All right, with a brush, I'm going to paint. The one thing that I need to do on every layer and every color I choose is go over to my blend mode, right? Which, again, doesn't say blend mode, but it says normal in my layers panel, right next to my opacity. And I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to choose multiply. And I'll show you why. If I just got a brush, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 down on the left column, if you have 2 columns. If I just grabbed a brush and I started painting, let's say on his face, you see it goes everywhere, right? I don't want to do that. I want it just to be on the white. And what I need to do is change that blend mode to multiply. And then when I paint, you'll notice it only goes on the white, right? It's the only place it appears. So I'm going to paint on his neck, his face, and his... I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller by right-clicking. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, holding down my command key and the plus. And I just want to get on his ear here and make sure I get that. I'm going to leave that alone. I got some of his chain there. I don't want that. I'm going to go back a little bit. Yeah, I don't want his chain. I think I'm going to leave that white. So I'm going to right click, make my brush super small now, and go back into here. And just coming down like that. Okay, that works for me. All right. I'm going to zoom back out for a minute. And I want his arms, so I'm going to get his arms. I'm just going to make my brush bigger and paint over his arms. Okay. So far, so good. Now I'm going to add another color. So I'm going to paint this left side of this door one color, and I'm going to paint this other part of the door on the right side another color. I'm going to add a layer. I'm going to go down to just the icon that looks like a turning page just left of the trash can. Click on that, double click on that, and I'm going to name this red. And I'm going to come over to my foreground square in my tools panel, double click on that, and find some red. And say OK. All right, I'm going to paint. I need to change the blend mode to multiply. I'm going to paint on this left side of this door. And I'm going to get that. All right. So far, so good. I'm just going to add another layer. Go do the other door. I'm going to do this one in yellow. Double click. Grab some yellow. Make sure I change it to multiply. And I'm off again. Whoa, I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful around his neck area. I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna zoom in. Make my brush super big for a minute. Just get this area. Yeah. And this area down here. And then I'm gonna make my brush super small for a minute. And come around where I see his neck. Yeah, there we go. I noticed I didn't get part of his ear there. I'm gonna go back to that blue. Yeah, let's go back to the blue for a minute. Make sure I have this changed to blue. I'm going to use my eyedropper. Where is my eyedropper? Yeah. Make sure I grab this blue. And go back to my brush for a second. And just come back to his neck a little bit, because I didn't like what I'm seeing right there. Try to clean that up, especially right here by his ear. Yeah. Okay. All right. Zoom back out, and now I am going to. I'm gonna do this chain. I already have 3 colors. I'm gonna add another layer though, just for the sake of doing it. And I'm gonna name this one green. Or no, I'm gonna do violet. I'm going to change my color by double clicking on my square and grab a violet. Something like that. Almost purple violet. And I'm going to change my blend mode to multiply. And I'm really going to zoom in this time. And I'm going to go with this patch right here first. And I'll do the same thing with this chain. So I need to just go over it here, but when I get closer, I'm gonna make my brush a little bit smaller over by his neck. So I'm gonna right click, turn my brush down really tiny this time. Yeah, just be careful I don't go into that blue. All right, that's it. So now I need to duplicate this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate all these 3 more times, and I'm going to change the color. And I'm not going to have to paint each time. I'm going to show you. I'm going to use the hue and saturation tab to change these colors. So first thing I do is I'm going to go up to image, the top, and I'm going to go to duplicate right there. And it's Erica's the one that did this project of Austin, so it has her name on it, right? And I'm just going to click, and I'm going to do the same thing, image, duplicate. So now if I look at the top, I have the original, I have the first copy, the second copy, I need 1 more. So I'm going to image, duplicate. Okay. So I have 3 other images. If I click on this one, you see it looks the same, right? They all do. They all match that one. But what I want to do is I'm going to click on this second one at the top here, right? And I'm going to go up to Image, Adjustments, and Hue and Saturation. And I click on that and I get this nice tab comes up, and I'm going to change the hue, right? So I am just going to change one at a time. So if I have red in this left corner here, I'm going to click on my red. Let me start that again. I'm going to click on my red, go up to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, and I'm going to change that red just by grabbing the slider on the hue and moving it, right? So now I have an orange, right? And then I'm going to say okay. I'm going to go to my next one, click on that, do the same thing. I'm going to grab the red, select the red layer. I'm going to go up to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, and I'm going to change that red to green. Where's green? I thought I had it. There it is. Okay. And I hit OK. What I need to be careful about is I go through and change these is that I don't duplicate it. So I always kind of go back to the first one and I see I have red, and then I click on the second one, then I see I have orange, and I click on the third one and I have green. So I'm going to go to the last one and do the same thing, click on the red layer, go up to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, and I'm going to make this yellow. Where's yellow? I had it. There it is. Okay. So now I click OK. And if I look at just that top left corner of the door, I have red, I have orange, I have green, and I have yellow. All right. You say, well, this looks funny. It's okay because I'm going to change each section that I painted. So I'm going to go back to my original one. I'm going to click on a different layer this time. I'm going to go to the blue, which is him. And I click on that and I go to the next photo, right? Sorry. Go to my next one, click on the blue, go to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, and change that blue to another color. I'm going to do purple this time and hit OK. I'm going to go to the next one, go to the blue. I'm just repeating this. Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. I'm going to make him this teal now. I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to double check. So I'm looking at his spot. I'm going back to my first one. He's blue. My second one, he's violet. My third one, he is kind of a teal green. I'm going to go to the last one and change him. Click on the blue layer. Go up to Image, Hue and Saturation. And I can make him red this time. Okay, and click OK. And if I look at all those, he's blue, he's violet, he's teal, he's red. Good. Go back to the first one. I'm going to go to that right side of that door, right? And it's yellow. So I'm going to change the next one. Go to that one. Select the yellow. And go to Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation. And change that yellow to green. And say OK. I'm just following this pattern the whole way, right? I go to this one, click on the yellow. Orange. Oh, what happened? Okay, if I look at the very first one, that door is yellow, it then's green, it's orange, and it's violet. So I haven't repeated that. Okay, I've got one more layer to do. I'm gonna go back to my first one and look at his chain and his pocket. They are violet. I'm gonna click on the violet and click on the next image. And then I am going to change that, right? Wait. Yeah, make sure I click violet. And I'm gonna go up to image, adjustments, hue and saturation, and change that to blue and say okay. So if I look at the first one, it's violet. I go to the second one, the chain and pocket is blue. Go into the third one, I have violet and blue. And I'll go with that one. Say okay. Go to the last one, click on the violet, and change that one as well. Yeah, I think I'll choose something like that green. Say okay. All right, now I'm going to double check. I'm going to go to the chain, see it's violet, it's blue, it's kind of a magenta almost, and then a green. So all my images should be different, right? And they are. So now let's put them onto a document. I'm going to create a document. So I go up to File, I go to New, and since I've cropped that original image 4 by 5 inches with a resolution of 250, I want to put 4 of those onto a document. So I'd have to double the width and the height, right? So if it's 4 by 5, I need to make a document that is 8 by 10. So I'm going to come over here to the right. I'm going to double click on my project. I'm going to call this Silkscreen. And I'm going to change this pixels to inches. And I'm going to change this 4 to 8 and change the height to 10. I'm going to leave the resolution at 250 and I'm going to say create. All right, so now I have 4 images that I want to put onto this Silkscreen document. I go to the first one. I need to select it. All right, how do I do that? I go up to select and I say select all. Click on that and I get the marching ants around it. Now I'm just going to copy and paste this, right? But I have to do one more thing before I do that. I have to select all these layers and put them in there. If I just have this, you'll notice if I just selected that, it only has one layer highlighted, right? So I'd have to either hold my shift key down and select them all to get them all in there, or I could just flatten all these layers together. So that's what I want to do. So I do that by going to image. I'm sorry, layer. I'm going up to the layers at the very top. And I'm going down to where it says flatten image. And you'll see when I click on that, it creates one layer out of that. I need to do that on each one of these. So I'm going to select the second one, go to layer, flatten image. Go into the third one, go to layer, flatten image. And then my last one, I'm going to go to layer, flatten image. Okay, so now I have those 4, right? I'm going to go back to the first one. I'm going to select it like I did. Now that I know I have one flattened layer, I'm going to go to select, say all, and now I can copy this. I go up to edit at the top, and I say copy. And I go to Silkscreen document that's over here on the right that I made. Click on that, and I say edit, paste. And there it is. With my move tool, I'm going to move it into place. Does it look like it's going to fit next to another one and on top of another one? It does. Because I made this document 8 by 10 and my image is 4 by 5. Does that make sense? So there's my first one. I'm going to go to my second photo, click on it. It's already flattened. I'm just going to go select all. I'm going to go to edit, copy, go back to my document and say edit, paste. I'm going to do those with the other two. Voila, my Silkscreen, Andy Warhol Silkscreen. And if I look at it, I can see that I made sure I didn't have any of those colors. Very vibrant colors, right? So you would say that these are highly saturated, right? So if saturation is about the intensity of the color, then you would say this has a high saturation because these are all very intense and vibrant. That's our Silkscreen project. Thank you.